Donald Trump photo without ear bandage raises eyebrows. It raises eyebrows. My eyebrows raised not because of Trump, but because of you, Newsweek. And Newsweek's actually not the worst. They get a lot of things that are decently bad. But there's a picture purportedly of Donald Trump climbing up some stairs that was taken on Saturday. The AP, it was filed, Donald Trump boards his plane on July 27th. The photo showing Trump seemingly his healed ear only 2 weeks after it was grazed by a bullet has raised eyebrows. I first want to point out, this could be a late filing for all we know, that it's a photo from a month ago, and the guy who had it just filed it with the AP. I'm assuming it actually is from Saturday, but I have come to a startling conclusion, my friends. How could Donald Trump's ear look totally fine with no bandage on it 2 weeks later?
He got a new ear.
I got a crazy idea. It healed.
That's a conspiracy theory. You take that back right now.
It was a graze. It was skin damage that bled, and it's been 2 weeks. It healed. And I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I looked up skin abrasion damage, and it's like it could take from like 72 hours to a week to heal. Depending on how deep it is, it might have to take up to 2 weeks, and more serious cuts may require stitches and take up to a month. And I'm like, a bullet grazed his ear, which damaged the skin. He wore a bandage. It scabbed over. It healed. He took the bandage off. And they're like, yeah, but he's 78. It should take longer than that. And I'm like, maybe. I don't know. Or it's been 2 weeks and his ear healed. What were they expecting to happen? I'm sorry. Look, I thought there'd be some kind of scar. I am surprised it healed this quickly. But assuming it's a photo that's from now, this is them just once again trying to claim Trump actually didn't get shot by saying ears don't heal.
Well, I think there's sort of the reality that he's a billionaire president. So he probably has access to good medical attention, right? I mean, even if he has some kind of, let's say, clear, very small stitching, right? I think whoever is taking care of Donald Trump knows his ears are going to be photographed, and he probably doesn't want them to look mangled or worse than they have to. But I think a lot of it is just hysteria because, again, they don't want it to be that this was actually what it was, an attempted assassination where he was hit by the bullet. And they want it to be shrapnel from the non-broken teleprompter, or they want to say, no, he just faked it and popped the blood.
Like gel pack.
They want it to be something it's not, because otherwise you have this really, heroic narrative coming out from the Butler, Pennsylvania rally, and they can't have anything good happen to the Trump campaign. When we talked earlier about the censoring of the photo, right? Like, there are so many people who don't like Donald Trump who saw that photo of him, fist in the air, flag behind him, or saw the clip of him standing up and the reaction from the crowd chanting USA, and we're like, I don't like this guy, but man, like, this is a powerful moment for the country. And they can't have that be a victory for Donald Trump. They can't have had something that was so terrifying and sort of like could have been this national tragedy be something that he made into this rallying moment for patriotism.
This narrative that they're pushing with Trump's ear is not that he was hit by a shard of glass. The narrative here, what they're arguing is that his ear shouldn't be healed. That would imply the gel pack conspiracy theory. That is, when the shots were fired, Donald Trump raises his hand to his ear. Yeah, because he got shot. But they argued that he actually smacked a gel pack in his hat, splattering it all over his face, drops down, and then he's got the gel on his face, the fake blood pack. And then it was all staged. He wears a fake bandage for a little bit, takes it off. Or, hear me out, it healed.
He was our first pro wrestling president. He did learn a lot in that ring with Vince McMahon. Anything's possible.
Yeah,
so
but
so you do think the gel pack?
I like going
the conspiracy.
down the rabbit hole.
The conspiracy would have to be that Donald Trump organized with the Secret Service detail to allow this crackpot kid to come to the property, which means they had to know the kid was in advance, get the kid in there, get the kid to climb on the roof with a gun, and then plan on killing a kid so that Donald Trump, they could play fake noises of gunshots, and then Donald Trump could pop a gel pack, and the Secret Service would be in on it. I mean, I'm not going anywhere.
It would satisfy the theory of people who think he's the bad guy, who aren't leftists, like the people who think he's the Antichrist.
It's just so crazy how these people call everybody fascist, everybody conspiracy theorists, but they are deluded, paranoid narcissists screaming. I mean, like the Olympic stuff too, which I don't know if we'll have time to get into. They mocked the Last Supper. The people who participated said they mocked the Last Supper, and now no, we didn't. No, we didn't. It's just. Everything's a conspiracy. No one's allowed to be offensive, but then they are. Everyone's a conspiracy theorist, but when they bring up conspiracies, they're not. It's all the what is the iron law of woke projection.
They literally, in the minutes after the attempt on Trump's life, were saying he staged it. Meanwhile, they refused to acknowledge Governor Whitmer doing the same thing, to her with the whole
FBI.
Fednapping plot and staking out her place on Mackinac Island. It just doesn't, to them, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know. Or Trump's ear healed.
What do you think? Do you think this is a prosthetic ear perfectly attached to his
Yeah,
head?
I think Trump's a badass, and I think he healed.
Yeah.
And
It's been 2 weeks.
yeah, I mean, the guy got hit.
Yeah.
He got grazed. So he is old, but the dude's in great shape.
It is funny how the age narrative is now something that the left-wing media is struggling with itself, because they're like, well, he's old. And it's like, that was our criticism of Joe Biden. You told us that we couldn't criticize him that way.
Do people fall for
which
this stuff
one?
still?
Oh,
They
yes.
do. They do. And that's the unfortunate thing is they do. And it's especially on social media.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's a whole place called Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, where people
Facebook
believe all of
or
that.
X. And
Here's what we do. We've talked about the voting requirement. I have a new voting requirement. Here's what we do. I have a question for, let's say, who should I ask the question to? Hannah Claire.
Hello.
Let me try and get this one right. And this would be the test. The test would be administered at every DMV, and if you answer correctly, then you get registered to vote. And if you don't answer correctly, then you can't vote. And the question is this. A man and his son are driving in their car, and they get into a horrible car accident. They're both comatose and rushed to the hospital and rushed into the operating room, where the doctor comes in, looks down at the son, and says, I can't operate on this person. This is my son. Who's the doctor?
The kid's mother.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is the child's mother. And what I love about that is most people go, his grandfather? He's talking about the dad, or my favorite
Only
was,
men should be doctors. That's the
my
big
favorite
combination.
was his gay other dad. And it's like, it's his mom. His mom's a doctor. And then people are like, no. So there's got to be some kind of like slightly out of the box question that if you can't solve, or it could just be like, I don't know, take a modern. The reason why you can't actually do tests is because then the left gets control of it and then they lie and they make fake tests. Mm-hmm. But there's got to be, we got to make voting harder. Sorry. When the left, here's what I love. The left says, Republicans are trying to make voting harder. And I'm like, you want Republicans to vote? You want low information fascist Christians to vote? No? Okay, well then we all agree, right? If you think Republicans are too stupid and they're in a cult, then set some requirement that makes it hard for them to vote. How about that? And the reality is, I think the idea that works best is you have to sign up for selective service to get a voter ID in order to vote, men or women. It becomes optional. Dudes can say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. You turn 18, you don't have to, but you can't vote. Women, you can't vote. But if you choose to sign up, that means in an emergency, you'll be drafted. You then get a voter card and you can vote. I think that solves everything. Liberals will stop voting overnight. But they have a choice to.
It's brilliant.
They have a choice to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think's left? I feel like there's a lot of liberals probably in the military forces these days.
Sure.
After like everything happened with the vaccines.
It's gotten way
you know?
worse. It's gotten.
I feel like I grew up near West Point, right? So
Yeah.
Millie was talking about their syllabus in the past few years. It sounds like stuff that I was seeing other professors do when I was a professor at colleges. And that's you're supposed to be making the leaders here.
I can't believe where our military is currently.
It's sad.
How we've been, and it started under Bill Clinton, and then it kind of kicked in big time under Obama, and then Biden has just turned it upside down.
That's the conspiracy for you, Shane. Aliens are in control, and the way you dismantle global military power is by getting them as woke as possible.
Yeah, aliens are Marxist.
That's right.
They're like Yuri Bezmenov.
Communist aliens.
Yeah, communist aliens. A new movie coming to a movie theater near you. What happened with Bill Clinton that you started to see that change?
Well, it was it was don't say gay, or don't say gay, but
No, it was don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
And then they started doing Coed Barracks, which for all ranks.
Seems like a terrible idea. I'm just going to put that one out there.
Well, especially when you're in combat.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a horrible idea.
What would happen if like one of the female service members got pregnant?
They are allowed to stay there for a certain period of time, and they get sent home.
Wow.
They take them off of combat duty or flying duty after a period of time. But right now, I just saw a thing today on my phone is that the U.S. Air Force now has manuals out about microaggressions and how I want my Air Force aggressed.
Super
you know what?
aggressed.
I want us to be savages.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
If we're worried about microaggressions because of somebody's pronouns were wrong or whatever, that's not who we are.
Yeah, it was weird growing up seeing the shift in cadets.
Yeah.
From the late 80s into early 90s and all the rules they had to follow. It was very strict. And all of them, when they would come back, would say stuff like the core has was their phrase.
Right.
The core has gotten soft, for this reason, for that reason. Every generation got worse and worse.
I think that's continued. I was a commander at the Air Force Academy for my last assignment in the Air Force before I started flying airplanes for Delta. But I started seeing that we were getting politically way to the left, and we weren't focused on breaking things and killing bad people. We were focused on making sure everybody was comfortable and
self-policing, it seems like, because so many military bases that were named after like Confederate generals, they're like, gotta rename those, or like West Point removed tons of
Lee,
the statues, or there's the like memorial walk, and they're like, how can we scrub this part of American history from us because we don't like it makes us uncomfortable.
And and for people in the military that are retired like me, I mean, if you were in the Army stationed at Fort Bragg, it will always be Fort Bragg. It's not Fort whatever it is now, Liberty or Victory or whatever they came up with. Whatever what the marketing people said was probably going to be a good name for a base.
Least controversial name.
Exactly.
Base,
yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.